Hello everybody and welcome back to Everything Octagon. This is the UFC Vegas 88 Fight Night Recap. We're going to be going through the entire card from the bottom to the top. Starting right out with Charalampos Gregorios versus Chad Anheliger. This was a pretty good fight to start the night. I thought it was going to be boring at first, but Gregorios come out. Round one, really initiated the grappling, pressed him, Chad up against the cage. Chad did stumble Gregorios in the beginning pretty good, and that kind of turned into some grappling. At first, Anheliger had the cage control. Gregorios reversed that and pretty much finished out round one with the control. I would have gave round one to Gregorios, but then Anheliger kind of come back. Gregorios seemed to tire out. He couldn't really get the shot like he was in the first round. And Chad Anheliger started stuffing the head, started really piecing up Gregorios' leg, and good jabs, good footwork, and weaponizing his cardio going into round three. I think Charalampos Gregorios shot 3-4 times, and Chad was able to stuff it and turn this into a striking match for the last round. I gave on my scorecards the last two rounds to Chad Anheliger for 29-28. Judges actually, two judges 29-28 and one judge 30-27. So they all gave that fight to Chad Anheliger by decision. Good on him. Gregorios is a tough and up-and-coming prospect, and Chad is a vet that's been around a while, so he's able to show why he's still here. Moving on, Thiago Moises versus Mitch Ramirez. Another really good fight. I thought it was going to be mainly a grappling match, but Thiago Moises showed that he's more than just a grappler. He kind of worked on Moises' legs the entire fight, and going right in the beginning of round three, Mitch Ramirez was super tired. I mean, he's jacked up, muscles to the bone, so you ain't got much stamina when you're feeding all that blood to all that muscle. So round three, Thiago Moises comes out, and I think he knew the leg was hurt, so he just started smashing leg kicks. Mitch Ramirez fell to the ground, and Thiago Moises just kind of come up, and Ramirez was on his back, and Thiago just kept kicking the legs, kicking the legs. You could tell Ramirez did not want to get back up. So eventually Mark Smith jumped in and called the fight off due to leg kicks, a TKO to leg kicks for Thiago Moises. So that was a good win on another guy that's been around against another up-and-coming guy. So I really enjoyed it. Moving on to the woman. At 115 pounds, Jacqueline Amorim versus Corey McKenna. It was a little bit of striking to start, but then Corey McKenna catches a front kick of Jacqueline Amorim's, and Jacqueline just uses that position with one leg up to pull guard down to her back, and initiates a pretty good little grappling scuffle. She pulls her head down. Jacqueline Amorim pulls McKenna's head down, gets her in a triangle choke, and tries to start that out. McKenna kind of twists and turns and ends up in an arm bar. She's standing over Amorim in the arm bar, and out of nowhere, Mike Beltran yells, "Stop, stop!" I think he thought that McKenna had tapped, which she did give like one tap to the arm, but I think it's got to be 2 or 3 taps. So he yelled stop, and then he yells go. So then Jacqueline Amorim kind of rolls McKenna to her back and gets the wrist control, gets the wrist up, and gets the elbow up so she can actually do the whole full arm bar. And yeah, she locked the arm bar in deeper, really put some pressure on it, and Corey McKenna has to tap. So round one submission for Jacqueline Amorim, a minute 38 seconds for her. So hell of a win, hell of a finish. You don't get to see many 115-pound girls go out there and finish fights. So I'm really looking out for her. So moving on, 145 pounds, Josh Kulabau versus Danny Silva. Weren't a bad fight, a little hard to score. The judges did go split decision on this. First round, you gotta kind of give it to Silva. There was a lot of feeling out, but he hit Josh Kulabau with a pretty good uppercut, and then finished round one with a solid takedown. So you had to give round one to him. And then round two, Kulabau come out with the 1-2, better footwork, more circling, and keeps and trying to keep Danny Silva at range. Little more activity. The grappling, Kulabau defended pretty well against the cage, circle out, separate, and they go back at it. There was a point in round two where Mark Smith told the boys to work. They were on the ground, and he was telling them just work because they looked like they were stalling. Other than that, I'd give round 2 to Culibao, but then round 3, Silva come out a little more regenerated, and he looked like the fresher fighter. He looked like he really wanted to win it and was, even if he wasn't the fresher fighter, he was pushing the pace mentally. Culibao still had good footwork, but he was running away. Basically, not really running away, but backing off, trying to stay away from the grappling. And unless you're really doing damage like Sean O'Malley or something, you can't be backing up the whole fight, backing and circling, and you really got to put on damage if you're going to be the guy that's retreating. So Silva ended round 3 with Culibao on a front headlock on top, and it just kind of seemed like you had to give it to Silva by the heart that he had and the activity in the 3rd round. The judges went split decision on this. I gave it to Silva. One judge did give it to Culibao. So, I mean, it could have gone either way, but winner of the night was Danny Silva by split decision, 145 pounds. I'd like to see what he does in this division. So, a couple more fights before he's even, talking about fighting top 10, but Culibao's a pretty good guy to have on your record to finish like that, or to beat like that. So, good for him. Okay, onwards and upwards at 125 pounds, Ode Osborne versus Rafael Filho. This was pretty much an ass whooping here. Filho come out, immediately initiates the grappling, gets a whizzer sweep, and gets Ode Osborne's back, and from there he just works it. Ode Osborne has him against the cage with his back against the cage, trying to use the cage to peel Rafael Filho off his back. Filho had, just the one hook in at the time. So it went for a few minutes there. And then Filho got it away from the cage and got full mount on Ode Osborne. Ode Osborne rolls, gives Filho his back, and a little bit of ground and pound, a little bit of punching on Ode Osborne, and he was able to sink in the choke while Osborne's defending the strikes and squeezes it out for a rear naked choke finish, man. A lot of chokes on this card tonight. I don't know what's going on, but I really feel like sometimes when you're in a rear naked choke, it's almost like you're just giving up. You're kind of just, I don't know. I need these guys to defend these chokes a little bit more, a little bit longer, a little bit better. I mean, they're just, I don't know if it's matchmaking or what, but if you're getting choked out, you need to be in the gym and you need to be, have some little motherfucker on your back all day long trying to choke you, and you learn how to defend that before you get in that octagon, because it's the easiest way to get guys out there nowadays. Moving on, Josie Nunes versus Chelsea Chandler at 135 pounds. What a brawl this was. Chandler ends up getting it on all 3 judges' scorecards. At least 2 out of the 3 rounds. Josie Nunes, I mean, what a trooper, man. I love seeing this girl fight, but she's so tiny. She's too small for 135. She fights like a bat out of hell. She's just trying to knock these girls out, but I'm wondering they're a little too big for her. She's one of those fighters that, I'll watch her all the time just because not necessarily the most skilled, but she's a fighter. She wants to go out there and just fight. She's Hail Mary, swings left and right, but she pretty much got schooled in this one. She was definitely outsized by Chelsea Chandler. And it was pretty easy to tell who had this one won. Nunes did try to fight back. I would have gave her maybe round 1, but other than that, it was all Chelsea Chandler. So Chelsea Chandler by decision. Moving on, 155 pounds. Natan Levy versus Mike Davis at 155 pounds. Another real good one here. We start right out, and Mike Davis was just faster and stronger, and you could tell he wanted to work the grappling. He comes right in. He lands a straight right on Natan Levy and pretty much almost drops him. It was like a half drop to half, like Natan Levy says, I'm going down. I'm gonna grab a leg. Mike Davis sprawls out, takes Levy's back, and pretty much he's just hunting down the choke. They end up, and they wind up grappling against the cage. Natan Levy ends up reversing the position and putting Mike Davis's back against the cage, and that's when Mike Davis rolls under for a knee bar. A little bit of scrambling around there. Bell rings. You give round 1 to Davis. And then I think that Davis could smell the weakness on the ground, and he come right out. Round 2, knocks Levy over with a left jab. They get back to scrambling, and again, he gets Levy's back. He maintains that position, transitions to mount. Levy rolls over. He transitions to mount, and then Mike Davis just locks in a sick arm triangle, tight as hell. Gets off to the side, gets his knee to his hip, and yeah, Natan Levy has no choice but to tap, and that's a submission win for Mike Davis. 4 in a row at 155. That's a pretty good accomplishment at 155. I mean, this division is stacked, but like you just saw Benoit Saint Denis. You know, we thought he was a monster, and he come out and got schooled by Dustin Poirier. So, although 4 in a row is nothing to shake a stick at, I still think Mike Davis has got a lot to prove before he's in that top echelon of 155ers. Moving on to 185 pounds, Gerald Meerschaert versus Bryan Barberena. Guys, I like Bryan Barberena. I had a hair across my ass when he knocked out Robbie Lawler, and then I watched a couple more of his fights, and I just like the way he fights. He's a banger. He's coming out to bang. But again, another one of these guys that I wish would work on his grappling a lot more. He pretty much got schooled by the older fighter, Gerald Meerschaert. Once it got to the ground, there was just nothing Bryan Barber could do. Barberena, he was like a fish out of water. And Gerald Meerschaert really showed those grappling accolades. He had him in multiple submissions. He was throwing up Kimura attacks, arm bars, choke holds, and eventually in round 2, he gets his back and rear naked choke again, and Barberena does not tap. He just slowly goes nanai, and the referee stops the fight. So another submission by Gerald Meerschaert. I think that puts him up there as the most submissions in the UFC, I believe, or maybe he's tied for most submissions in the UFC. So good for him. He's another long-time vet that is just refusing to go down quietly. So another win for Gerald Meerschaert. Okay, moving on to 135-pound women's division, Pani Kianzad versus Macy Chiasson. These two already fought on The Ultimate Fighter way back in the day. Macy had beat Pani Kianzad in the finals of The Ultimate Fighter to win it by rear naked choke. And this one, it was almost worse. Macy got the choke even faster. Rear naked choke, very quick. Comes right in, gets the grappling going, gets her back, and just subs her with a rear naked choke. Not much to talk about on this one. I don't think that this fight should have even been scheduled. I mean, it was easier the second time around for Macy to take out Pani Kianzad. I think that maybe Pani Kianzad maybe asked for this match. Maybe she wanted to get that one back, but it was the same story as their first fight. Moving on, Christian Rodriguez and Isaac Dalgarian at 145 pounds. This was a pretty cool fight for me. I've been watching Christian Rodriguez. I watched him take out Raul Rosas Jr. in a decision, and Cameron Simon, both who are young 20-year-old up-and-coming fighters with they had perfect records before they fought Christian Rodriguez, and he stole those zeros from those guys. Just kind of showed that the zero just means that you haven't been in a fight yet. Better hammer than a nail, pretty much. Christian Rodriguez comes out against Isaac Dalgarian, 6-0, another undefeated prospect. And it starts out with Dalgarian in round 1, just initiating the grappling. And Christian Rodriguez did very well defending, a lot against the cage, a lot of spreading the hips out and making sure he didn't get taken down. When he did get taken down, he sprung right back up. As the rounds went on, you could see Dalgarian gassing out, getting more and more tired. It was harder and harder for him to get that takedown. He was just leeching around the hips, grabbing the hips, and Rodriguez would have to get against the cage, pry the hands, circle, separate, and engage in the striking. But the wrestling of Dalgarian did not stop Rodriguez from letting his hands and feet go. He was good on the teep kicks, good on the footwork. And then round 3 really showed Christian Rodriguez as the fresher fighter. Dalgarian was diving in, desperate takedowns, trying to get those takedowns, but now he's too tired. Rodriguez is still fresh, stuffing the takedowns, fighting the hands. I would even, he had him on the ground at one point, hammering away, close to a finish. He went for an anaconda choke. multiple failed double legs by Isaac Dalgarian. I gave the last round 10-8 to Rodriguez. The first two I actually gave to Dalgarian, so by my scorecard, it would have been a draw. The judges were split on this. One judge gave the fight to Dalgarian, and then two judges gave the fight to Rodriguez. So Rodriguez takes it on the scorecards. Another O in his books that he stole from a up-and-coming prospect. I mean, these defeats will make these prospects better to show them that they can't just come in and finish everybody. But watch out for Christian Rodriguez, guys. He seems like he's hard to put away. He's in there for the full fight for the full amount of time. So Christian Rodriguez by decision. Now moving on to Kennedy Nzechukwu, or however you say it. I call him Kennedy. Against Ovince St. Preux, 205 pounds. This was pretty good. Another young guy, I think 26 for Kennedy, against 40-year-old Ovince St. Preux. Ovince St. Preux, he's been around. He's fought the who's who. He's been at heavyweight. He's been at 205. I mean, he's fought John Jones. He's fought them all, man. And it was cool to see. He came right in here. First round was a lot of feeling out. A lot of offhand. They both got opposite hands, so they're playing with that front hand, slapping each other's a jab away, trying to really find their strikes in the first round. As the rounds went on, the fight heated up, and by round 3, they were just in the phone booth slugging it away, throwing all technique to the wind and just trying to knock each other out at the end there. I gave the edge to Ovince St. Preux on my scorecards. He was landed the better strikes. He was coming in the phone booth and hitting it to the body, hitting it to the head. And just watching the fight, you could tell that Ovince St. Preux was the better fighter, and the judges agreed. They gave him the unanimous decision against the young Kennedy. So, I mean, I've heard a little bit of ranting and raving about the judges on UFC Vegas 88, but I had no problem with the scoring. A lot of the scoring went along with my scoring as the fights went through. I was doing my own scoring each round, and for the most part, it matched up with my scorings. All right, guys, moving on to the co-main event at 170 pounds, Bryan Battle versus Ange Loosa. I did a video about this fight. In my video, basically, I had said that I don't feel Ange Loosa has anything to offer Bryan Battle. I felt Bryan Battle was the better fighter. He's one Ultimate Fighter at 185 pounds. He's coming down to 170, and boy, does he look big at 170. I thought that Ange Loosa was going to be the stronger fighter, but when you saw them in there, it looked like a 205er versus a 170-pounder in there. Round 1, Bryan Battle comes out and he just completely dominates. He seems much bigger, stronger, faster. Ange Loosa seemed faster at first until Bryan Battle got his timing down, which did not take long. And it didn't look like Ange Loosa had much for him. I mean, Bryan Battle was comfortably throwing flying knees and just touching Ange Loosa all around the board. Better footwork. Ange Loosa could not get a glove on him. He tried to wrestle, got overpowered, spun against the cage. It just, you could tell on Ange Loosa's face when he felt the strength of Bryan Battle that he knew he was up against it. Bryan Battle hitting front kicks to the body, jabs, straights, teeps, switch kicks. I mean, just the range was too much for Ange Loosa. Round 1 ends. You give it to Bryan Battle, 10-9, easy on the scorecards. Round 2 comes out. They do a little more feeling out. Ange Loosa looks very hesitant to even engage with Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle keeps working his jabs, and then somewhere along the way, they clashed heads. It looked like Bryan Battle got the worst of the clash of the heads on the cheek. It looked like the top of the head on Ange Loosa. But then when they played the replay back, when Bryan Battle pushed Ange Loosa's face away, one of the fingers skimmed the eye. It did not look that bad. I've seen way worse eye pokes. So a few minutes go by. Mike Beltran stops the action. A few minutes go by. You can tell that Ange Loosa is, he's winking his eye, but you can tell when somebody's really poked in the eye. They get a lot of watery eye and they can't stop winking it. He seemed like his eye was wide open. He seemed fine. Out of nowhere, the referee stops the fight. Evidently, Ange Loosa told the doctor that he could not see. Bryan Battle's pissed at this point. They went in the middle. They announced the fight as a no contest due to accidental eye pokes. Looks like Bryan Battle and Ange Loosa try to have a conversation, and then Bryan Battle flips out and says, "I was whooping your ass." And Andre Lusa starts freaking out. The security comes in and separates them. It looks like they want to fight. Andre Lusa's yelling, I'll kill you," from across the cage. Bryan Battle does the interview with Michael Bisping, and he even mentioned, he says, yeah, he 2 minutes ago, he told the doctor he didn't want to fight, and now he wants to fight. So you tell me, it's just sad for Bryan Battle. He was putting it on this guy. It should have been another win for Bryan Battle. As far as my prediction goes, I feel like I called it. Didn't know what a bitch Andre Lusa was gonna be. But yeah, like Bryan Battle said, he is that dude. Watch out for this man at 170. I mean, I know 170 is a deep division, but this kid is going to go far. I believe he will get a belt one day. He's big for 170, and he's very, very good. So, Bryan Battle, watch out for him in your top 10. Moving on to the main event, Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. Did a prediction on this video as well. Oh, it really bums me, man. Why doesn't Tai Tuivasa learn to defend some grappling? I know there's people in his gym that grapple. Tai Tuivasa comes out, really just brings the left, right, throws one leg kick, left, right, gets Marcin Tybura against the cage. He does land a pretty big elbow, cuts Tybura wide open, blood everywhere. Tybura says, fuck that, grabs a hold of Tai Tuivasa, rips his fat ass to the ground, takes his back, and sinks in the rear naked choke. Tai Tuivasa tries to fight the hands a little bit. Then he just kind of goes limp. He's in there for a couple minutes with his chin tucked in to the choke, going, making all sorts of gurgling noises and whatnot. And then referee grabs his hand. It seems to be limp, and they call the fight off. Tai Tuivasa pretty much goes to sleep because he doesn't want to tap out. Good job, Marcin Tybura. Fucking Tai Tuivasa, man. That's 4 in a row. 4 losses in a row. I don't know what's I know UFC doesn't want to ditch him because he's so cool, but we're talking 4 in a row at heavyweight, probably the least skilled division in my opinion. Yeah, don't be surprised you see Tai Tuivasa retiring soon. Maybe one more fight. If he don't win that one, I can see him putting in the gloves. He probably should. I don't like to tell fighters when they should retire because I like to, especially someone like Tai Tuivasa. I mean, I watch him lose all the time, but it's just sad to see. I mean, you gotta fucking defend the chokes, man. You gotta learn not to let people get your back. Like, this is the story of the night. I think we got 5 chokes tonight. It's an easy win, man. If you know how to choke people and join the UFC, I mean, I know it's not that easy. I know it's not that simple, but holy fuck, man. You gotta defend the rear naked choke. Rule number 1 in MMA, defend the rear naked choke. But anyways, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing this every week. More predictions. I'm going to be doing some UFC news. So follow along my journey. Please subscribe. Need you guys. Yeah, rock on. Have a good day.